breaking in. Blame him. I told him about the eagle.
You told me it was a duck.
The fuck I did. Why would I say an eagle is a duck?
Not check those out. I dropped a Countdown Season 1 review, and I dropped my Jaws retrospective review for a special episode of Pixel and Popcorn. It's episode 10 of that. But without further ado, you didn't come here for that shit. We came here for Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 3. So let's get right into it. Season 2, Episode 3 is titled Another Rick Up My Sleeve. Welcome back, everybody. This is the time where we explore the other dimension, because this week's episode of Peacemaker dives even deeper into Chris's alternative reality, balancing wild action, emotional beats, and multiverse chaos in one package. Now, I already love that I was right about my prediction last week about Rick Flag Jr. coming back. This was not only an episode that was crazy like that, but it had one of my favorite fights so far, and probably my favorite episode so far of the season. So we start 3 years ago, Emilia's secret. Just when you thought Emilia and Chris's relationship couldn't get any messier, episode 3 drops a bombshell flashback where Emilia was secretly involved with Rick Flag Jr. before the events of Suicide Squad. We open up with her waking up to him fully aware that he's still technically with the Enchantress, and she warns him that they shouldn't take things further, fearing the Enchantress might literally rip a hole through the earth. Jr. responds with the line, "Baby, you're worth the whole earth." Fast forward, and we're reminded this is the very same day Peacemaker kills Jr. That choice in Emilia's history with him sets the stage for that drama. Peacemaker also assumes his doppelganger's identity, which we figured from last week's episode. And as we've seen, Chris isn't exactly thrilled with his life in our reality, so stepping to his doppelganger's world and living this comic book dream is very exciting. So we start with his wardrobe. The funniest shit, the Kardashians don't exist over here. And his brother replies, who, confirming that they aren't canon in the timeline, which is just some funny stuff like that. He's got a sweet ride, the Peace Cycle. Fucking badass. It's a redecorated police motorcycle that screams pure ego. And then he goes on his way to Argus HQ, which he doesn't really remember where this stuff is at because he's not, from this universe. And he ends up going and gets titties flashed at him. And some of the funniest shit ever. There's like a little boy crying. Hilarious stuff. But we go back to our universe, and Task Force X is still recovering from their hangover. Adrian is chaotic, naming off spider facts. And Emilia and Adebayo share some girl talk, debating whether Emilia should get back or Chris. And we end up seeing that nothing apparently happened on the boat. Literally something did, but we know why she's not getting with him ever, because of the Rick Flag Jr. stuff. Over at Argus, Eagly went absolutely feral, and his attack left so many agents injured, including titties. Maybe she'll be alive. So Bordeaux calls Economos mid-bath, furious that he didn't warn anyone about the murderous duck, since apparently Homeboy has the bird blindness, even though he told him that it was a fucking eagle. And so that has some tension there, very funny stuff. Now this is when we see the other universe of Rick Flag Jr., and he's a bumbling idiot, he's stupid, and it's the funniest shit. I know a lot of people are probably mad about that. They hate it whenever characters come back and they're stupid like that, but I just figure it's nice. I don't see James Gunn keeping him and pulling characters like that, because that'll be confusing for the mainstream audience, I feel like, when you start doing shit like that. So I figured if he showed up, it would be in a kind of a goofy sense, and I really like that. But then there is a robbery. The Sons of Liberty show up, and it's fucking crazy. They've got bombs, and he takes them out. I got a little scared at first when he's killing people, because I was wondering, I was like, do they kill people in this universe? I was like, are they like good guys? Like, to the fact they don't do it? No, but they kill people. We're confirmed when his brother flies into a plane and stops them, or a helicopter and stops them. And it was epic. Epic fight scene. He kills a dude with a fucking printer. I love this so much. And this is what kind of set that bar for the episode going up a higher tier for me, where I was like, okay, this episode is fucking awesome. Because him and Harcourt are talking about their relationship. It's really sweet. She acts completely different over here, and it's basically your dream world. It's like a big what if, like, hey, this is how you want your life to be. Cut back to Argus, so they're not playing anymore because Bordeaux decides Economos can't be trusted and assigns him a new baby sister, none other than Judomaster. Cheeto fingers and all. Economos clearly hates that, and that's going to be funny as hell next week. I'm really wondering how that episode's going to go next week, because it seems like Peacemaker's definitely going to stay over there, but with Argus beginning to make preparations for his arrest, I wonder how that's going to go, if they're maybe going to go into the other universe, or I don't know. Now, back in the alternate universe, once again, Chris shows up to Argus HQ, like I said, and I want to kind of touch back on base of that because him and Emilia, the relationship dynamic clearly isn't going to work out, especially once they find out that, you know, I mean, because once again, she's happy that he's not arrogant, fame chasing, or superhero, something like that. But even with that being the case, it's clearly not the real Chris that she fell in love with, and once again, he can't stay over here. And so then, after, like I said, all the attacks and stuff like that, I end up getting ahead of myself there. We get, like I said, Judomaster's back, but Red Saint Wild is here to kill Eagly. I'm a little scared for that, actually, because if he's as good as they say, Eagly's got him, but I'm a little nervous. And so with that, my final thoughts for episode 3 is that it delivered everything I love about Peacemaker. It's wild humor, surprising emotional depth, and over-the-top action sequences that somehow never feel out of pace or place. But my thing about this episode I love the most is that it really wasn't slow and kind of dragged out like episode 1 and 2, which I liked. The alternate universe storyline keeps things fresh. The Rick Flag Jr. reveal sets up big drama. And Eagly continues to be adorable and terrifying off the screen since he was in this episode. And so with that, I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. I feel like this is peak James Gunn chaos. And for somebody that's been kind of waiting for the show to pick up, I think I gave the last 2 episodes an 8 out of 10, 8.5 or something like that. I really loved how they were going in that slow burn route, but I was needing more action from Chris. And since we got that, more here, more of a focused episode with him, I absolutely loved it. These next few weeks are going to be something else. The cameos already been crazy, and what's funny is this episode really wasn't highlighted as a big cameo episode, and we got Rick Flag Jr. back, and so it really makes me wonder, because James Gunn, I think he said like the last 2 or 3 episodes are going to be cameo crazy, really makes me wonder who we're going to see. I would say I'm still leaning towards Superman. Apparently we're supposed to see Superman again because, you know, Man of Tomorrow got announced, which I guess I should have said before this video started. And, you know, with that being the case, I feel like he's not going to be in Clayface for sure. Supergirl, I feel like is dead kind of giveaway, but at the same time, even though it's confirmed Superman's going to show up again before that movie, like Man of Tomorrow, I feel like the only projects he can show up in would be Peacemaker at some point towards the end of the season, Supergirl in that movie just in some point, and Lanterns next year. And so I feel like Clayface, like I said, is off the board. But even if he doesn't show up in this, I feel like there's a high chance we could also get Blue Beetle, because recently Jello was interviewed, I think today actually, about that, and he fucking acted so goofy. He like didn't say no or anything. He just literally was like, man, I'm glad I'm not in James Gunn's situation. I was like, buddy, you didn't fucking answer the question. So now it's making me lean towards maybe there's a chance that we could see that. I don't know what the context would be, but at the same time, I'm like, they worked in Rick Flag Jr. in that plot line. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts on who you think we're going to see next few weeks, and let me know what you think Argus is going to do. They're going to cross over, they're going to fight Chris, what the fuck's going to go on? And with that, I'll catch you guys next week on the episode 4 recap and review.
Love you too, little man. That's a bit much.